The movie opens up showing what happened in the past in this movie sequel. At the conclusion of the big battle from the last movie, Bahubali, having defeated Kalikeas, is declared king by the Mother Queen Sivagami over Balaladeva, who instead is given charge of the armies as a commander. Welcome to Review Recapped. Please help us grow by subscribing and turning on the notifications. It means us a lot. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy. There is a tradition in the kingdom that the daughter-in-law of the royal family is required to perform a sacrifice every so often by carrying hot coals in a container above her head and walk around the temple to ward off evil spirits. Sivagami carries this out as she is the only daughter-in-law of the family. Bahubali proves his might again as he stops a disgruntled elephant that escaped its harness and was charging in the direction of Sivagami. The ceremony was carried out because Amarendra Bahubali was to ascend the throne as king. Declaring Bahubali king does not ease the tension between the two stepbrothers and rivals, as Balaladeva considers himself the rightful king, being the biological son of the Mother Queen. As we found out in the previous movie, Bahubali is the son of the old king, and his mother died giving birth to him. The king's brother was seen as too weak and cowardly to take over the throne, so his wife Sivagami, sister-in-law of the king, had the conspirators to the throne killed and assumed the throne herself. She was to hold power until one of the two princes proved he was capable enough of taking over the responsibility of the throne. Since Bahubali was to take over the throne, Sivagami orders him to travel throughout the kingdom and surrounding areas and become familiar with the people and various smaller kingdoms that existed within the land so that he understood the land and the state of the people he would be ruling over. She also sends Katappa along with him as a companion and bodyguard. In the meanwhile, the Sivagami would prepare for his coronation and search for a suitable bride. During their travels, Bahubali and Katappa come across a village that is being attacked by bandits. There they see Princess Devasena, the woman enslaved in the royal courtyard, collecting small pieces of wood from trees in a fire pit in the first movie, take on a group of bandits and defeat them without much effort, while other men from the village fight rest of the bandits. The villagers are being led by Devasena's cowardly cousin Kumara. Bahubali and Katappa also assist the villagers by quietly taking on a group of bandits hiding in the forest nearby. Bahubali becomes infatuated with Devasena when he sees her fighting. Devasena is a princess of the Tala kingdom and the sister of the ruling king. After the fight is over, the two manage to convince the princess and her cousin that Bahubali and Katappa are uncle and nephew and that Bahubali is an uneducated fool who was kicked out by his family for being an idiot. Katappa manages to convince Devasena that they are simple travelers and asks her to take them in. During their stay within the palace, Devasena manages to figures out Ab is not a fool but rather just putting on an act. He flirts with her during their stay, falls in love with her, and because she enjoys his flirtation does not call him out and just plays along. Back at the palace, Balaladeva learns from his spies that Bahubali is pretending to act like a fool in order to woo Princess Devasena. He becomes infatuated with Devasena when he sees the picture he received of her. Before Bahubali can act on his desire to marry Devasena and inform Sivagami, Balaladeva convinces her of his desire to marry Devasena. Not knowing about the burgeoning romance between Bahubali and Devasena and feeling guilty for passing over her biological son in her choice for king, she promises him that Devasena would marry her son. Subsequently, Sivagami sends a messenger to Devasena's kingdom for her hand in marriage to Balaladeva. However, the messenger belittles the Tala kingdom and insults Devasena, saying she should be grateful for having been offered a proposal from such a prominent kingdom. The princess in return insults the messenger and turns him away, refusing the marriage proposal. Katappa and Bahubali, who do not know that marriage proposal was on behalf of Balaladeva, take the proposal from the messenger as meaning that Sivagami on her own decided to marry Bahubali to Devasena. Since Devasena does not know yet that Bahubali is the future king, he does not step forward to reveal his actual identity. A little while after, Devasena's kingdom is attacked by an organized band of robbers. Bahubali is forced to reveal himself as a warrior in order to fight alongside Devasena and defeat the enemy. Following the battle, he declares his love for Devasena and asks her to come back with him to his kingdom as his bride. Devasena's family is supportive and approves of the match. Although Bahubali had received an order from Sivagami to take Devasena as a prisoner for insulting her offer, he tells Devasena that he will protect her, and she can come with him back to his kingdom. Once they explain the situation to Sivagami, she will accept their relationship and it would all turn out fine. Things do not go as planned. Devasena and Sivagami almost instantly dislike each other. Devasena also declares that she will not marry Balaladeva because she does not love him and refuses to be forced to marry someone she does not love. Sivagami takes Devasena's refusal as an insult against her, partially because she still feels a little guilty for making Bahubali king instead of Baladeva, and orders the guards to arrest her. Because Bahubali had promised Devasena that he would not allow her to be harmed, he comes to her defense. He goes against the orders of Sivagami and refuses any harm to come to her. The actions of Bahubali infuriate Sivagami. By choosing another woman over the Queen Mother, Bahubali dishonored not only the Queen Mother but also the laws of the kingdom. Thus Sivagami gives Bahubali an ultimatum. He will have to choose between being king or Devasena. Bahubali, having fallen in love with Devasena, naturally chooses her over being king. As a result of Bahubali's choice, Balaladeva is crowned the new king. Bahubali is given Balaladeva's old job as commander of the army. At the coronation ceremony, the people and guards at the palace cheer louder for Bahubali when he is crowned the commander, shaking the throne by stamping the ground with their spears. Clearly, they still see him as their king. This only serves to infuriate Balaladeva even more. He decides that Bahubali must not hold any power or he will continue to be a threat to his rule and delegitimize him. The tension between the two stepbrothers persists as Balaladeva uses every opportunity he can to drive a wedge between Bahubali and Sivagami. He particularly uses Sivagami's dislike of Bahubali's wife Devasena as a factor in driving the wedge even deeper. Balaladeva even goes as far as creating situations where Devasena appears to be in the wrong, and Bahubali is forced to defend her. When Devasena becomes pregnant, he relieves Bahubali of his command over the army so he can spend more time with his wife. However, it was a ploy to strip Bahubali of any power he held in the kingdom. This becomes another fight between Devasena and Sivagami because Devasena accuses Sivagami of sitting idly by while her son takes all control. Slowly all forms of power are stripped from Bahubali, and the Queen Mother Sivagami has been turned against him by Balaladeva. Once the tensions reach a boiling point at the order of Sivagami, Bahubali and Devasena are exiled from the kingdom, forced to go and live among the peasants. The couple, now living at a workers' village, are still happy with their life. Having each other is enough for them. Bahubali helps the villagers by creating tools for them so that they do not have to work as hard, while Devasena, having gotten further along in her pregnancy, is preparing for the birth of her child. Back at the palace, Balaladeva, still paranoid about the influence Bahubali has, and comes to the conclusion that as long as Bahubali is alive, he poses a threat to his crown. Thus he comes up with a plan that would have the Queen Mother Sivagami herself order the death of Bahubali. Balaladeva has Devasena's cousin Kumaravarma overhear a conversation between himself and his co-conspirator father, Sivagami's conniving but cowardly husband Vijaladeva. Balaladeva and his father pretend to have an argument where he wants to have Bahubali killed, but his father pretends to be against the plan. This fools Devasena's cousin Kumaravarma into believing that Balaladeva's father could be trusted and asks him for help so that Bahubali is not harmed. Balaladeva's father, for his part of the plan, convinces him that the only way to protect Bahubali is to kill Balaladeva. When the plan is carried out and Kumaravarma attacks Balaladeva, it turns out to be a trap, and Kumaravarma is killed. Balaladeva injures himself and then goes to the Queen Mother, Sivagami. Since it was Devasena's cousin that attacked him, he convinces her that Bahubali is the one that sent Kumaravarma as an assassin to kill him out of jealousy of losing the throne and his command of the army. Sivagami, still angered at Bahubali's betrayal of having chosen Devasena over her, is now convinced that Bahubali would be capable of doing such a thing as having Balaladeva assassinated. Because Bahubali is still popular among the people, he cannot be killed outright as it would cause lots of internal fighting. Therefore Sivagami orders Kattappa to assassinate him quietly. Since Kattappa is bound to serve the royal ruler, he cannot refuse the order. The plan is to have a group of rogue warriors chase after Kattappa into the village that Bahubali is living in with his wife. While this plan is unfolding, Bahubali's wife is giving birth, but Bahubali is forced to leave his wife to go and help Kattappa. Although the warriors are able to injure him, none of them are able to kill him. Bahubali kills them all, and it is up to Kattappa to finish the job. When Bahubali's back is turned towards Kattappa, he plunges his sword into his back. After Bahubali has died, Balaladeva comes to gloat over the dead body of it as victory and expresses his level of depravity by hacking away at the dead body with an axe. Balaladeva also believes that Kattappa is his loyal dog, and in his zeal at having won reveals his entire devious plan to have Bahubali assassinated by the order of the Mother Queen. Kattappa immediately rushes off to tell the Mother Queen of what Balaladeva had done and that Bahubali had never done anything wrong. This leaves the Mother Queen Sivagami in shock, having finally realized what she has done. Devasena in the meanwhile had given birth to her son, young Mahendra Bahubali, and while she is still struggling, makes her way to the palace with her new baby and is shocked to learn of the death of her husband. When Balaladeva returns, he asks his mother to go to the palace balcony and address the people, informing them of Bahubali's death. Instead, she takes the baby out on the balcony to declare that the baby is the new ruler of the kingdom, and Kattappa takes a vow to protect and serve him. Balaladeva, enraged at Sivagami's declaration, has the guards attack her, but she manages to escape with Kattappa's help on a boat through the water canals running through the massive palace. While she is escaping, Balaladeva shoots an arrow into her back, the arrow we saw at the start of the last movie, and she drops into the river, possibly drowned and dead along with the baby. Devasena, who is still struggling after having given birth, is captured by Balaladeva and imprisoned in the palace courtyard. Later we see in the present day, 25 years later, that Mahendra Bahubali, son of Bahubali and Devasena, is enraged after hearing the story of what happened to his parents. He orders Kattappa's elite troops, the rebels he was helping, to rescue Devasena, not realizing she was his mother, and all of the people from his village to prepare for battle against Balaladeva and his army to take back the kingdom. When Balaladeva learns of the threat, he orders his troops to attack, and he comes out of the palace on his massive chariot, recaptures Devasena, and returns to the palace, closing the massive drawbridge leading into the palace once he is safely inside. Mahendra Bahubali and his men manage to get into the city by bending long trees and using them as catapults to launch themselves over the palace walls while using their shields to make a protective shell around them. Once the groups make it inside the palace walls, the drawbridge is open for rest of the troops to breach the palace and take the battle to the courtyard of the palace. Mahendra Bahubali goes directly to fight Balaladeva. The fight is evenly matched, with both warriors showing their might. While everyone else is fighting, Devasena starts the sacrificial ceremony that Sivagami had completed a long time ago. Obstacles are thrown in her path, and a bridge that she needed to cross is lit on fire, but a pathway magically seems to clear for her to continue her journey around the temple to complete the ceremony. Mahendra Bahubali, who finally gains the upper hand in his fight against Balaladeva, wraps his fists in metal chains and punches Balaladeva into submission. Balaladeva is beaten into the area. Devasena was held captive for 25 years. The wood that Devasena had been collecting was covered in oil when the palace guards lit the bridge on fire from before. When Balaladeva is beaten onto the pile of sticks by Mahendra Bahubali, Devasena completes her journey exactly where he lies beaten. She dumps the coals on him, setting him on fire. We are taken forward in time to Mahendra Bahubali's coronation. He is blessed by his adoptive mother Sanga, and then the king's crown is placed on his head by his biological mother. The movie ends with Mahendra Bahubali declaring peace. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.